The moment Adrian Vale stepped out of the taxi, something felt wrong. The air around his luxurious villa was too still, too quiet for a home that was supposed to be filled with love, laughter, and wedding plans. He had returned 3 days early from his business trip, carrying a velvet box in his pocket, a surprise upgrade to his fiancée's ring, something he had spent weeks secretly preparing. He imagined her reaction, the tears of joy, the way she would run into his arms. But instead, as he stood at the gate, heart racing with excitement, an uneasy feeling gripped his chest like a silent warning he couldn't ignore. Before we dive deeper into this emotional story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of love, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to DIMEX Story to support more heartfelt stories like this. Adrian had built his life from nothing. At 32, he was known in the city as a self-made millionaire, a man who turned sleepless nights into success and sacrifice into fortune. But for all his wealth, the only thing he truly valued was Ilara, his fiancée. She had come into his life when he was still struggling, when his dreams were fragile and uncertain. She believed in him when no one else did, or at least that's what he had always thought. To Adrian, she wasn't just his future wife. She was his safe place, his reason to keep going when everything felt impossible. As he unlocked the front door, he noticed something strange. A pair of unfamiliar shoes sat near the entrance, expensive, polished, and definitely not his. His smile faded slightly, replaced by confusion. Maybe a guest, he thought. Maybe a relative had come over. He tried to brush off the uneasiness and stepped inside, his heartbeat beginning to echo louder in his ears. The house was filled with soft daylight streaming through the tall windows, casting warm shadows across the marble floors. But instead of the comforting scent of home, there was a tension in the air, thick and suffocating. Adrian walked further in, his grip tightening around the velvet box in his pocket. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if his instincts were preparing him for something he wasn't ready to face. Then he heard it. A faint sound from upstairs, laughter, not just any laughter, it was hers, but there was something different about it, something unfamiliar. It wasn't the gentle, warm laughter he knew so well. It was louder, carefree, almost careless. His chest tightened as he slowly made his way up the stairs, each creak of the wood beneath his feet amplifying the storm building inside him. When he reached the top, the door to their bedroom was slightly open. His heart pounded so violently it felt like it might shatter his ribs. For a moment, he stood frozen, staring at that small gap, as if his entire life rested on what lay beyond it. And then, with trembling hands, he pushed the door open. What he saw in that instant didn't just break him, it silenced him completely. The room that was supposed to hold their future, their dreams, their love, now held something else entirely. Ilara stood there, not alone, but with another man. The scene before him was enough to stop time itself. The laughter he had heard moments ago now echoed in his mind like a cruel joke. The velvet box slipped from his hand and fell to the floor, the soft thud barely noticeable against the deafening silence that followed. Adrian couldn't speak. He couldn't move. It was as if his soul had been ripped out, leaving behind an empty shell. The woman he had trusted with his heart, the woman he had built his dreams around, now stood as a stranger before him. His mind raced, trying to piece together a reality that no longer made sense. Every memory, every promise, every late-night conversation, they all felt like lies unraveling in front of his eyes. The man quickly stepped back, startled, but Adrian didn't even look at him. His gaze remained fixed on Ilara, searching for something, an explanation, regret, anything that could make this moment less unbearable. But what hurt the most wasn't just what he saw, it was what he didn't see. There was no shock in her eyes, no guilt strong enough to break her, just a quiet realization that the truth had finally caught up. Adrian turned away slowly, his movements mechanical, as if his body was functioning without him. He walked out of the room, down the stairs, and out of the house without saying a single word. The man who had faced ruthless business deals and impossible challenges now couldn't even find the strength to ask one simple question: why? Days passed, but time felt meaningless. Adrian shut himself off from the world, replaying that moment over and over in his mind. The silence that followed the betrayal was louder than any argument could have been. He questioned everything, his judgment, his love, even his own worth. How could he, a man so careful in every decision, have been so blind when it came to the one person who mattered most. But pain has a strange way of reshaping people. One evening, as he sat alone staring at the city lights, Adrian realized something that changed everything. The betrayal didn't define his worth. It revealed hers. He had given his loyalty, his trust, and his heart without hesitation, and that was never a weakness. It was a strength, the kind of strength that not everyone is capable of. Instead of letting the heartbreak destroy him, Adrian chose to rebuild himself, not as the man who was betrayed, but as the man who survived it. He poured his energy back into his work, into helping others, into becoming someone even stronger than before. Slowly, the silence that once haunted him turned into peace. And as for Ilara, she became a closed chapter, a painful one but necessary. Because sometimes the people we trust the most teach us the hardest lessons, not about love, but about self-respect. So if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. Before we end, take a moment to comment, "I choose self-respect," if you believe no one deserves betrayal, no matter how much they love. Adrian didn't lose everything that day. He lost an illusion, and in its place, he found something far more valuable: himself.